Welcome, brothers and sisters, to another episode of A Dose of Faith. And boy, do we got an episode in store for you today. That's right. You know why? Because we're going to talk about love, man. We're going to talk about romance. We're going to talk about passionate emotions. You know, walking on the beach, holding hands under a beautiful sunset, getting that amazing feeling throughout your body when you lay eyes on each other, thinking about that special someone all day long, not being able to imagine life without them. You all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about having a boyfriend or girlfriend. I'm talking about meeting an attractive person at school or university or wherever and going on dates. So is God okay with such relationships? Of course not, people. No doubt they're wrong. Yo, man, but why? Didn't our gracious Lord bless us with such emotions of love? Why is Islam applying pressure on us by suppressing these beautiful sentiments? I want to love and be loved. I want to feel warmth and affection. I want to experience the love stories we see in movies, man. Why, God? Why do you torment us like this? People, Islam is not against love. On the contrary, if you study the life of the Prophet and his companions, you'll find stories more beautiful than Romeo and Juliet. But what Islam is against is investing that love in the wrong way. And before telling you what the Almighty says in the Quran about such relationships, let's talk about the subject from a rational standpoint. Now, the argument a lot of young Muslims give you, especially the girls, is, yeah, it may be wrong, but our intention is eventually to get married, you know, when we're done school in like 5 years. Brothers and sisters, honestly speaking, how many of these relationships end up in marriage? Seriously. I swear to God, people, I have seen a lot of these cases with my very own eyes. In school, throughout university, and in every single one of these cases that I've come across, the couple eventually break up, and each person goes his own way. Either they see no future together, or the sparks that once existed between them have died out. Some people start out thinking that, yo, this love story will last forever, and they live in a world of dreams. But this phase is temporary, and reality will eventually hit them hard in the face, and they discover that they were not meant for each other. The guy gets bored, or somebody new comes along, or one side has a change of heart. And I want to ask the girl a question. Sister, what happens to your emotional state after a breakup? You're heartbroken. You're hurt. You cry endlessly. You feel betrayed and fall into depression. I'm not saying that boys don't feel sore, because I've seen some guys cry after a breakup. But generally, the girl's different. She's delicate, and her emotional nature makes her sadness more painful, more agonizing and tiring. And you know what, sister? God doesn't want to see you in such a terrible state. He doesn't want you to suffer like that, girl. The idea is to preserve the soundness of your heart. He loves you and cares for your well-being. Do yourself a favor, sister, and listen to your Lord. He knows what's best for you. And I wish this was the whole story. But unfortunately, people, the problem doesn't end here. And what I'm about to say is relevant to everybody who engages in premarital relationships. Whether you're Muslim or not, whether you argue that your intentions are eventually to get married, or whether you're just in the relationship to have pure fun. So what's the problem? You see, the human mind has this ability to remember and compare feelings, emotions, experiences, tastes, sights. It's really an amazing function that we have. It's like it stores these things in a database, and they remain with you, if not forever, for very long periods of time. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Say you went into a restaurant and bought yourself a juicy shawarma. You know, that Middle Eastern sandwich made of chicken or beef and wrapped in pita bread. So you take a bite of that delicious, succulent sandwich, and all you have to say is, mmm. Now the following week, you feel like having that shawarma again. So you go back to the restaurant, but you find that it's closed for renovations. Now you got to have your shawarma, man. So you check out this restaurant across the street that also has Arabic cuisine. And you decide to try it out. You order one sandwich and take a bite. But to your surprise, it doesn't taste as good. You feel disappointed, man, because you've tasted better. You remember what it tasted like last week. And after comparing the two, you're really not satisfied with this week's shawarma. Bro, what are you getting at, man? How are shawarmas relevant to relationships? Well, every time you get into an intimate relationship with someone, your mind compares your current partner to previous ones. Just like you compared the two sandwiches. Yo, this girl's good and all, but I got along a lot better with the girl I dated 3 months ago. Or she's not as pretty, or her sense of humor is not as good. And what ends up happening with a lot of people is that they keep on jumping from one relationship to another with no success in finding the perfect match. Why? Because they've tasted a sweeter flavor and they're just never satisfied. Come on, man, stop exaggerating. People are still getting married, so it can't be all that bad. Of course people are still getting married, but you're affecting the love after marriage. Psychologists tell us that premarital relationships play a big role in the breakup of marriages. The girl can't help but compare her hard-working husband, who comes back home tired and looking stressed out, to the relaxed guy who was always in tip-top shape with gel on and who had nothing to focus on but her. And the guy, on the other hand, is comparing his wife, who's spending her energies on raising the children and working, to that girl he used to know with beautiful flowing hair, who always had perfume and makeup on, and was constantly smiling in his face. It's an unfair comparison, because you're comparing a person with responsibilities to one who has none, but your mind doesn't view it like that. It's like if I were to tell you that the second shawarma didn't taste as good because the cook was having a bad day. You're not going to go, oh, okay, I understand now. You know what? I've decided that the second shawarma tastes better now. It doesn't work like that, people. And the problem becomes even worse when emotional bonds were created with past partners. You'll find a married woman with 2 children whose heart is still connected somewhere else because of a relationship she had when she was younger. She doesn't mean to have such feelings, but it's not in her hands. She has no control over her feelings. It's a mental trap. Do you now see why God doesn't want you to get involved in relationships before marriage? Sister, do you see why He specifically tells you in the chapter about women in the Quran that you should be modest and not take any boyfriends? Brother, do you see why He tells you in the 2nd chapter of the Quran to enter a house through the proper door? In other words, if you're serious about the girl and you love her, don't play around with her. Do it the right way. What is the right way? Islam has a beautiful system that's very logical and rational. And we're going to dedicate an entire series to that topic a little later on. In conclusion, I want you all to imagine something with me. Picture for a moment what a relationship would be like if 2 people who lived life following God's advice were to come together. He hasn't tasted love before, nor has she. He has no emotional attachments that could affect his future, nor does she. Both hearts are still fresh and pure, free from any buried wounds. You know what a relationship would be like under such circumstances? It would be like living in a dream. The love would be unlike anything you've ever tasted. Why? Because you have nothing to compare your emotions and experiences to. Your mind has no record stored on file. Don't risk losing a beautiful lifelong relationship for 5 or 10 years of fun. It's not worth it. So brothers and sisters, if you've got yourself a girlfriend or a boyfriend, end the relationship for your own sake and ask the most merciful for forgiveness. God bless.